Good morning and welcome to this series of using Python to extract data from a relational databases. Our previous video showed how we extracted data from files like CSV, like Excel, because we know source data could be in any form. So that is the essence why I'm doing this. I'm trying to see how we can aggregate data across a platform to form a single source before data warehouse is being created on it. In our very most, some of the videos we shared before too, we saw how we use Microsoft tools like Visual Studio, SSIS to create cubes, create fact table, extract data from databases. So I am just trying to repeat the same process here using Python. So stay tuned as we share the activities for today. Let me go on to see what we are going to do today. Okay, all right. Okay, we shall be looking at, like I said, the first item there, launch our Anaconda Navigator. That's the ID we shall be using. Then we import Pandas, which is a very, very important library for us to define data frames that host our data in memory. Then we have to import the create engine from SQL Alchemy, which is a very important library. Then connect to database, create data frame, read from a particular table, then navigate and create in another destination table. So this is just the small activity we shall be the activities we shall be performing today. So stay tuned. Let me notch the IDE, the Anaconda work tool for us. So here we are with the Anaconda. I search for it from my search tool. Let me note the Jupyter notebook is what we shall be using. So let's wait for it to come. It runs on a HTTP port. Let it come up. So as seen on the screen, we have not the development environment. Let's create a new notebook, as you can see there. Right, it's created. Okay, let me quickly save the file before we start the real work. Save as, let me say TLSQL, ETLSQL. You can always import this file when need be. All right. So let's start by importing. Let's import some libraries. Import Pandas as a PD. Okay, let's probably import from Alchemy, from SQL, from SQL Alchemy. Let's import create underscore engine. This is what we use to create an instance of a database. Okay, so let's quickly run this to see if we are good. All right, so we're good. There's no issue. So let's try to create a SQL database parameters. So this is how we make a comment. Let's create a DB. Let's define DB connections items. So we can have a server is equal to a server We have a database. We have a username. I'm going to use SQL authentication. We're not using trusted connections here. In case we have a password. And let's have a connection string. Connection, let's say underscore string. It's got to use the F string. F, because we're going to be bringing some variables into it. Okay, the server I'm dealing with is just localhost, the database. Let me use AdventureWorks. Is AdventureWorks 2019. I already have that database. It's already created. That was what I used for the previous video, AdventureWorks 2016. Username have a SA. The password have it as a 01. Okay. So the connection string have put the variables in. As you can see, this Microsoft SQL is my SQL plus ODBC. Is Python ODBC. There is another general library that can be used to access database. Then you have the username, the password, the server. This is how we prepare the connection string. So if we run this, if there's an error, it will throw. Otherwise, we're good to go. Okay. Tracemark is saying an error. SA line 6. SA Agbon 01. Okay. Let me look at what is known. Localhost. Let me look at what is known right there. AdventureWorks. Database name is not defined. Error name database is not defined. Password okay. The spelling is wrong. Database. Should put database here. All right, it's correct. So let's go to the next on the agenda. So next on the agenda is let's create the database engine. Let's use the database engine. Use the SQL Alchemy. Use SQL Alchemy to create a DB. Create DB connection. To create the DB connection, we already defined the DB connection. We have to create it. So let's quickly say engine, because we already said create engine. Okay, let's say engine. Let's say engine is equal to create underscore engine. I have to put the connection string here. Is the connection string. Let's copy it and put there. Okay. All right. This one we connect to the database. There's no error. So let's try to read from it. Let's try to read from what that database connection that we just created. Okay, I can say query. Let me say query is equal to let select stars from okay. I have a table called person. Should be following me. I have a person. Let me say dot. Let's use a address type. We have some content there. Address type. have data frame. Data frame is equal to have pd dot read underscore SQL is how to read from SQL table. We have this very query here, then the connection string that was created. SQL query command the engine. We have engine there. Okay, this is the engine. Then we can display the content. Let's say df. I can equally use a df dot columns to see the various feeds that are in the table. So let's try to see if this runs. Okay, so let's start from person. Okay, SQL save. Data frame object has no attribute columns. Okay, columns. Okay, all right. Well, we can see these are the feeds, the various feeds. There's various feeds in the table. Let's see the content of the table. Okay, you can see this was in the table from database. So we can decide to cross-check with the database itself. Let's person.address. Let me bring a Visual Studio, Management Studio here. This is the database I'm interested in. I have a person, this address tag. If we look at this, we see exactly what is here. Okay, you can see the table. So this is exactly where we read from. So we have read this content into the data frame now. The next thing on the agenda, let's try to see how we can try to insert it into another table. We have displayed the content. We just need to, let's create another database first so that we can read it there. We can insert into the new table. So what am I trying to do? Let me come here to say create database. Sorry, I'm not there. Okay. Let's create a new database. Let's call it staging 2014. Okay. So this way I want to create a connection string to this, and at the same time, let me create connection string to that place so that I can write to it. So let me copy what we did at the top first. I will change the database. What's the database name just now? Adventure DB 2014. Okay, Adventure DB 2014. Adventure DB 2014. Okay. I could decide to use a trusted connection. I will use a trusted connection without using username and a password. The username and password, I can call this one. Sorry. Let me remove this so that we can have two approaches. Connection string, I can call this one destination. Can call this connection string 2. So I've just I removed the username and password, and I change this to underscore destination. Can call this underscore destination. Okay. Then you can see it's only database and server name that is here. I'm creating engine for destination. I want to use this to connect to the database. Let's see. There's no error. String of the destination is not valid. Connection string destination. Connection string. Oh, it's case sensitive. Let's see if we are there. Okay, we have connected. So I want to write from the data frame, which is what we have here. I want to write from here to a new location and database. So I can say, let's say, comment, write to new table. So I could do this by say df dot to underscore SQL. These are functions from the SQL Alchemy. So what are we writing? We're writing we have a table. Let's call the table name. Okay, let's call it address. Address the engine, the destination. This is the connection string I have created, established, put it there. Control V. Then we have to, if exist, let's say if underscore exist, let's replace. If it exists, let it replace to avoid the duplicate. Replace. Then the index. Let's index be false. Because there's always a default index feed that comes with it. So we don't want that to be inserted into the table as well. So let's run this block to see if we are good. Address destination engine false is not defined. Index equal to false. Okay. I think it's equally case sensitive. It's case sensitive. Let's try again. All right. You can see the color change. Okay. It has inserted 6 records, just the way you see. So let's read from here too and see whether the values are actually there. So let's say df dot pd dot as the pandas dot read underscore sql. I have the okay. Let me define the query. It's query 2 is equal to query 2 is equal to select star from address. So let's start from address. Let's start from address. Read. We have the query 2 command. Which connection string are we using? We're using destination. Engine underscore destination. That's the second table. That's where we're trying to read from. Okay. df. Let's see if we can read it out. Okay. Data frame object has no attribute PD. Okay. Okay. I think I made a mistake. df got to read. Okay. So you can see this is exactly what we have in the new location. So if I go to my database now, okay, let me refresh my database, go to that new database. This is adventure Okay, this adventure staging. If we look at it, we find only one table. You can see the address is here. Okay, and look at the content. So what we have just done briefly is to show how we can connect to relational database. Could be Oracle, anything. You can see the ODBC there. Once we connected, we can read from the various tables of interest. We read from various tables, we connect to read from various tables, then we can equally move to a centralized location where all the data will be before we can now do further analysis on them. So this is what we just reviewed today, how to basically use Python to move data from one DB to another, use one of the most reliable libraries in Python and Pandas and SQL Alchemy. So this is how far we will go today, and I appreciate your followership as a kind of encouragement to me. I will appreciate if you can help subscribing to my YouTube channel, like and make a positive comments. So gradually, I believe we will be better in data engineering and analysis with time. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies.